Hey, what's up guys? This is Cole with CJC Off-Road. We are super excited to show you guys today the biggest, baddest, most off-road capable suspension system for the 2017 and newer Super Duties. That is Carli's Dominator System. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, what's really cool about this system is whether you want to go jump your truck, whether you want to tow with your truck, whether you just want to drive your kids to school in comfort, this system really does allow you to do it all. So Carli actually designed the system from the ground up to be the most capable system available for these 2017 plus Super Duty trucks. Noticeably absent from Carli's lineup for the last couple of years has been a Dominator system for these newer Ford trucks. So if you had an 05 to 16 Ford, there's a Dominator system for those. All the Rams had a Dominator system available. The 2017 plus platform actually proved to be limiting in terms of shock fitment. And so what that means is for the older Fords, you're able to just basically cut off your truck's factory coil buckets. Carli had a custom fabricated bucket that would allow you to run a 3.0 diameter shock. These newer Fords, because the coil buckets were actually so integrated both into the frame and into the front steering assist setup that Ford puts on these trucks, there was no real easy way to basically cut apart the front of your truck's frame, nor do most people want to on these newer Ford trucks. So what Carli did in order to make this work, it was a very long, involved process, was to actually completely from the ground up custom engineer a shock setup with King shocks that was basically a shock that will bolt into the front of these Super Duty trucks up top. So what Carli did is actually uses a custom machined upper top hat for the shock, and what that does is it actually offsets the shock slightly away from your truck's frame and allows you to run a 3-inch diameter shock up front. On the back, this platform actually proved to be somewhat limiting as well. And so what Carli did there was actually engineer a completely custom upper shock mount that allows the rear 3-inch diameter shocks to clear the frame on these trucks. In the front, Carli actually, if you look at these shocks, custom engineered a lower eyelet for the shock that completely offsets the shock on the bottom at the lower shock mount as well. Super cool stuff. Most companies don't have this kind of pull with King to do these custom shock projects. Carli, being that they've worked with King directly for so many years, was able to work basically hand in hand with King to develop this really cool shock package very specifically for these trucks. And we're actually super excited to show you guys what these things can do. So what Carli did here is they actually designed these systems specifically for diesel trucks for the 4.5, 5.5 platform. The reason for this was actually to utilize as much suspension travel as possible, and they really wanted to make a system here that was the most capable system off-road. But what's really cool about these Carli systems, and this one in particular, is how Carli tunes these shocks. So while most lift manufacturers, we mentioned this in a million videos, but how they're just using generic shock tuning, Carli actually put in the time, did the homework to completely custom tune these shocks, not only to be the most capable shock off-road available for these Super Duty trucks, but actually to ride really well on-road as well. In fact, I've actually had the opportunity to ride in a couple of these trucks with these new Dominator systems, and if you actually compare the ride quality in, say, Carli's Ford Level E Venture, which in my opinion was the most comfortable system available for these trucks, you'd actually be hard pressed to notice a substantial difference in ride quality between the two systems on road. So that's what we feel is really cool about these. So much like, say, Ford's Raptor platform, where they did a really great job of making the trucks work on and off road, Carli has kind of brought the same type of design and engineering into the Super Duty platform here as well. We have a lot of customers that actually cross-shop Raptor trucks and the Super Duties. A lot of guys want to be able to take their trucks off-road, or at least have trucks that are off-road capable, but they don't want to compromise in terms of weight capacity or on-road comfort. And that's what's really cool about these systems. You get the ride quality, you get the handling, the truck is still capable of towing, with the various add-ons that Carli offers, such as the long travel airbags. And actually, for a lot of people, this, in my opinion, is going to be as close as you're going to get with an HD truck to the Raptor platform, but also something that does a lot more than just drive off-road. Something that's really cool about these Carli suspension systems is the interchangeability between the systems. So if you look at this Dominator system here, all the custom engineering that went into these shocks, the actual core components such as the coil springs, radius arm drops, track bar, all the basic components that Carli includes in these systems are actually fully interchangeable between the systems. So whether you have like a commuter, backcountry, pin top, one of the other 4.5, 5.5 Carli systems, you're basically a shock swap away from having a Dominator system on your truck with this system out. So Carli does offer the shocks separately from the whole system as an option. Now, if you have a 2.5 or 3.5 Carli system, there is a little bit more involved in switching to this Dominator system. If you're looking to do something along the lines of that, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to walk you throughout the process. We've talked about the system itself. Carli offers a variety of upgrades for these systems as well. In this case, I feel that their components are complementary to the Dominator system. First and foremost, the Carli Torsion sway bar. This is a really cool upgrade that is very specific to Carli systems for these Ford trucks. What it's going to allow you to do is actually articulate a lot more freely off-road. Side benefit of this is the trucks actually ride a whole lot better on-road with these sway bars as well. Moving a little further back, Carli offers their fabricated radius arms. The Carli fabricated radius arms actually use a freely rotating joint that replaces the factory vulcanized joint at the back of your radius arm. What that means is these arms articulate more freely, more easily than the factory radius arms. And they also have the capability to include limit straps, which are a long-term durability upgrade when running high-end shocks, such as the Dominator shocks in these systems. Moving further back, Carli's full progressive rear leaf springs, I'd say, are recommended every single time with these Dominator systems. Reason for that is these full progressive rear leaf springs that Carli offers offer a lot more pliable ride. So initially the springs will feel a lot softer, but they also allow for the amount of travel that these Dominator rear shocks allow for on these trucks. So a very complementary upgrade to the system. Beyond that, Carli has their high and low mount steering stabilizers. Now, the high and low mount steering stabilizers, the benefit of these is that you'll actually reduce steering wheel feedback on these trucks. These Fords, we put larger tires on them, are notorious for getting steering wheel feedback with larger tires. And beyond that, off-road performance-wise, having two stabilizers on the truck really does help maintain control of the truck. So, mashing over whoops, large, imperfections off-road, the steering wheel is going to be a lot less likely to basically wiggle back and forth with both of these stabilizers in place. Really cool upgrades that Carli offers for these trucks. And again, they're not just there to make these kits cost more money. They actually do go hand in hand with the Dominator system that Carli tuned the shocks around in the system to match, to provide the ultimate all-around performance for these trucks. One final add-on that we recommend in certain cases for these trucks are Carli's long travel airbags. And what these airbags do is when you run a softer rear spring, such as Carli's full progressive rear leaf springs, you do give up a bit of rear weight capacity on these trucks in exchange for that softer ride quality. And so what Carli did with these bags is basically gave us a way to retain the full amount of travel these systems are designed for, while also being able to supplement the truck's rear weight capacity with the airbags. They're a really cool upgrade, and if you do intend to use the truck as a tow rig with this system, a highly recommended upgrade for your truck as well. These systems have been a long time coming, and we are actually super excited to be able to offer these to you guys. This is something we've known about for a while, kind of watched the development process throughout. We get a lot of requests like, hey, how do I make my truck work like a Raptor off-road? This is as close as you're gonna get without compromising the fact that this is a heavy-duty truck as well. So it's still, great on-road ride quality and handling, still capable of towing with the right additions to the system itself. But beyond that, these really do work well off-road. And in that, this is kind of unique to the market. No one else has anything like this for these trucks. And again, that's why we're so excited to show this to you guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you have a local shop that you like working with, we also have a wholesale distribution network where we work with shops throughout the country, actually and around the world, to basically not only supply these parts for you guys, but to provide technical support throughout the installation process as well. We're glad you guys enjoyed this video. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and thanks again.